It's been a long time coming, but I'm happy to finally announce that in the year of our Lord and Savior 2022, Bannerlord has exited early access and is now fully released. I had an early access review last year, and thankfully there has been a ton more added since. For this review, I'll be focusing more on the changes brought with 1.0, as well as everything else in between. I have a feeling this is going to be a long one, so grab some popcorn and let's begin.
Get your popcorn ready.
So for this review, we will focus on the sandbox experience, as that is what I played this game for. There is a story mode that I would recommend in order to get your bearings and if you care for the lore of Calderia. I personally don't, so I'm sticking with the sandbox. And for this review, we will focus on the life and times of Carmen of the Red Dragons, a rising clan hailing from the lands of Landia. When it comes to the character creation, not much has really changed here, and I honestly wish there were more hairstyles, voices, and face paints to play with, especially for female characters. One of my pet peeves as well is how some of the background choices will add proficiency to crossbows and two-handed weapons, but none of the starting equipment you can choose comes with that. While you can't always just buy it once you create your character, money is tight early on and may be better used for recruiting troops and buying food. Now, the quest of Carmen of the Red Dragons has begun, and now we actually have voice acting, which took me by surprise.
Yours is not a face I know. What is your name, stranger?
It should be noted though that most of the dialogue is still not spoken. Still, it's pretty cool to see here. It's now on to the battlefield, and thankfully much has been improved here. One of my favorite additions that helps to put it leagues above what was here previously is pre-battle deployment. You can now separate out troops however you want it, whether it be multiple regiment of archers, combining cavalry and bow cavalry, or even setting up formations beforehand like a shield wall or a skein. Each formation can have a captain leading it, and if the captain has a banner equipped, that unit grouping will gain the bonus. If you're part of an army but not leading it, you may get the chance to control one unit. All this comes together beautifully in the larger battles. Calling for formation changes and movements on the battlefield is important, and now time slows down when issuing orders. It's a great way to assess the situation before making a change without losing too much time. It's much easier now to set up a hammer and anvil strategy to execute to perfection. It also helps that reinforcements come from various edges of the map, so no need to worry about them plopping in the middle of the battle ready to throw hands. Now you're given some time to react accordingly. For weapons, certain spears and pikes can now be used for spear braces. This is absolutely devastating for stopping cavalry charges. I use this a ton during arena battles and won many tournaments because of it. Side note, tournaments have remained the same since I last spoke about them, so no comment here. It's still a great way to gain money, renown, and good equipment early on. Armor is definitely stronger now than before, but I still feel like it's way too easy to get one-shotted by both you and your opponents. There were times where I was covered with elite armor from head to toe, yet a slash of my legs destroyed half my health. Thankfully though, fighting an elite cataphract will take far longer to take down than a peasant recruit. Sieges in early access receives a ton of criticism, mainly regarding their AI. Many times the AI would just set up ladders and climb one at a time. Thankfully this has been resolved, although the siege AI is still not perfect. I mainly noticed this in siege towers where the AI would just open the tower before the rest of its teammates reached to the top. Why the AI thinks this is a good idea? I have no clue. Still, I cannot deny the fun it is playing these battles. They are usually my favorite battles, which is completely opposite from Warband. In fact, I really enjoy siege defense a ton, as I get to use a ballistia to fire upon the assaulting front. It's also intense being in first person mode, seeing trebuchets firing at your walls, eventually bringing them down. Castle design is also top notch here with various defensive features to take advantage of. And yes, let's talk about town and castle management. Not much has changed since the last time. You still can assign governors and projects to be worked on. One thing I really do like is how different the towns and castle look when improving the fortifications. Not only do you get a higher garrison capacity, the walls are far stronger, and the design of the castle features far more defensive features. It's still a pain though that you cannot access this from the menu and need to go to each fief you own to pick the next construction project. You can assign governors for afar, but that only does so much. The campaign AI is still unfortunately a massive issue for me. Every time they take over a town or castle, they never can properly garrison the place to prepare for a counter strike. Instead, they will just take it over, march deep into enemy territory or to God knows where, and let the place get recaptured. The amount of times I've seen this is staggering, and it really needs to be addressed somehow. Maybe mods can do this, but we'll talk about that a little later. The same issues still also apply to diplomacy. It was left basically unaddressed as there is only war and peace. Now that sounds silly, but by that I mean there's no way to sign alliances, non-aggression pacts, or any kind of proper diplomacy we expect now in the modern day. This is a problem as there is nothing stopping one faction from declaring war on you as soon as you declare war on another. It also looks worse when you can just instantly declare peace with them as long as your realm agrees. It's such a shame that I hope mods can fix. Thankfully, there is more than just fighting here. As you level up your clan, you can then become a mercenary, a vassal, and even the opportunity to form your own kingdom. What I really appreciate here are the cutscenes for each of these important milestones. It adds a nice touch to the presentation of this game. One milestone in particular includes getting married. It's basically the same game as before and eventually involves paying the clan leader to marry a member of said clan. Even if you are able to woo someone to fall in love with you, the payment still must be made, which may take days depending on where the clan leader is located. I remember in Warband marrying someone after I rescued him from prison in a last stand. I'm not sure if Bannerlord would have something to that of that degree, but maybe one day if sneaking in enemy towns wasn't so damn risky. With marriage eventually brings kids, as long as you both are traveling together. As the kid ages, you are given a few choices in order to develop your child the way you want, depending on the traits and abilities of both parents. It's a fun system, although I'm not sure if I'll ever get the chance to play as them, since it takes a very long time for them to grow up.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
If there was something to accelerate the years, I would be down for it. Along with battling to ransom prisoners and sell loot to make that cash money, boy, there are other ways as well. You can always set up a caravan in town and hope that it doesn't get attacked. This is far easier said than done, as even a fully guarded caravan can easily be defeated. I prefer setting up workshops as it provides a passive income as long as they are stocked with the correct raw materials. Smithing has seen its fair share of improvements and alterations. Jobs can now be fulfilled by crafting weapons within what a customer is looking for. Along with getting paid for the quality of the job, there's also a chance to improve relations with a notable member of the town. Unfortunately, it just takes way too long to unlock parts to craft with. The problem comes for how weapons will only unlock parts for its class, so one-handed axes will only unlock parts for making one-handed axes. This makes weapons like two-handed maces incredibly hard to craft since finding them in battle is very rare. Hopefully this is addressed either in a mod or an official patch. If there was a way to buy blueprints, I would be down for that. I keep mentioning mods, so I should mention that the workshop integration was finally introduced a few weeks before the official release. This was a long time coming, as Warband had such an awesome and amazing modding community that added countless hours into the game. One that I played a good amount in Warband was the Gekukujo mod, which takes place within feudal Japan and had far more enjoyable siege battles than the vanilla experience. There's even some development currently of a feudal Japan mod for Bannerlord, which I am pretty excited for. I've already tried a few mods myself, including one that makes being a bandit far more enjoyable called Fourberie. I definitely recommend it if you're into the more nefarious ways. There's also this weird thing where if you have any mods, it'll disable Steam achievements. I'm fine with that, but it doesn't even allow you to earn achievements even if you disabled mods. You'll have to unsubscribe from the mods on the workshop and make sure there's no trace of them on your PC. It's just incredibly tedious to have to do this, so I kept them disabled without earning any achievements. I also want to give a quick shout out to the photo mode. Not much has changed here, but always something I want to give props for the developers for including. Took way too many photos with this feature. For the performance and optimization, it could definitely take a toll on your PC, especially if you're playing large battles. Thankfully, I recently upgraded this year to an RTX 3060 Ti, as well as a Ryzen 5600X. Both have definitely helped with performance, especially when things get chaotic. Also didn't run into any hard crashes surprisingly, although there are a number of graphical glitches as well as a ton of clipping that occurs. So with all that said, we have finally reached the conclusion. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. There are definitely some flaws that I wish were ironed out, including diplomacy and especially the campaign AI. Regardless, I cannot deny the simple fact that I have already put in over 300 hours with so many different characters and playstyles despite these issues. It's a very ambitious game with an awesome battle system in place and a ton to do to keep you busy. It also has a very active modding community that'll only ramp up in due time. I didn't even mention the multiplayer at all, which is its own beast with a ton of stuff to do there. It's at $50 full price, but is currently 20% off, bringing the price down to $40. I can easily recommend grabbing it now while it's on sale and still recommend it at the full $50. Thank you guys for watching as always. Really enjoyed talking about this one. And this is Powerhouse, signing off.